I'm making this video for anyone who is experiencing issues with their own ADHD in the workplace. So whether you're starting in your career or you're already well into your career and you're just wondering, how do I tackle this? I'm coming here with really just one singular idea. This is not the top 5, whatever, the top 3 keys to success or something. To me, this is the central idea of managing your ADHD really overall, but I say in the workplace because that's where I'm spending a lot of my time. I see my coworkers more often than I see my own spouse. So managing my ADHD in the workplace is a huge priority for me. And I wanted to share this in case anyone out there wanted to hear it and felt like they would benefit from this. But before I get to the central idea, I just want to make it clear that this is not something that I just kind of thought of this week. This is the culmination of all 37 years that I've been on this planet and trying to tackle this thing, trying different things and failing over and over and over again until I found things that stuck. So I started out, I moved to New York City when I was in my 20s and started to kind of try to make a name for myself. I managed to get into this company that I really wanted to join by just hustling and making myself into a UX designer. While I was there, I taught myself full stack development, became a full stack web developer, and then I moved out to the Silicon Valley where I was hired at one of the big tech companies as a lead engineer of a full stack web team, of several actually full stack web teams. And because of that, I noticed that I had a liking to being around people more often. And from there, I became what I am now, which is a program manager, which is basically project management. So I give you this background just to show that this is coming from someone who has not just kind of dealt with ADHD, but have actually prevailed with it, that have actually experienced success in life. And I actually got to my dream job where I am now. I don't have any money to make off of this. I just wanted to share this with everybody. So anyway, let me get into it. Here's the basic idea. We are told as people with ADHD that we have deficiencies. It's right in the word, right? Attention deficit disorder. And the truth is that we don't have a deficient attention span. We have an attention span that is fatigued and it needs to be rested. We don't have a memory that is broken. We have a memory that is fatigued and it needs to be rested. We don't have a mood regulation that is broken. We have mood regulation that is fatigued and it needs to be rested. So on and so on. I mean, there's this whole bucket of things that we're told that if you have ADHD, you're going to experience this. And we're talking about all those things as if they're not symptoms of one central thing. And that central thing is impulsivity. ADHD is a disorder of impulsivity. The rest of it are symptoms. This is any other video that I make about ADHD. This is the core of it. This is the baseline that all of it comes from. So, I don't care if you subscribe or not, but save this one, right? Keep it on hand, come back to it and listen to it again and again. I am going to do that. That's one of the reasons I make these videos, so I can kind of go over things that I want to remember. This is the central idea of it. It's that it's impulsivity. And so, like I was saying before, what you actually need to do is to get your attention span into a state where it is relaxed. You get your emotional regulation, your rejection sensitivity, the whole list of things that people with ADHD have. You get all these things into a state where they are relaxed. You don't get this out of relaxation in general. You don't get this by just going to sleep and waking up the next day. And the reason why we are constantly in this state of feeling our ADHD is because we don't do anything to relax our attention span. We don't even know what to do. I didn't know what to do for much of my career. I I got to the, when I was first diagnosed with ADHD, I think I was in like first or second grade, and they put me on Ritalin. And I was already so sick of being the outcast and the kid who was like the weird kid that nobody wanted to talk to. The last thing I needed was just yet another thing to kind of, put a label on my forehead and say, Adam needs to go out and get his meds. Like he's like the only person who has to leave the classroom to do his meds. So I would have to do that, but quickly I would just stop. I would pretend like I would take the pill and, I don't know, put it in my pocket or something. I didn't want to take it. That lasted until I was in my 30s, until things got really bad at work. So bad to the point where I felt like I was going to lose my job. And then I started seeing a therapist. I started taking medication. For me, that really helped. But then I found something better, which is what this video is about. To the point where I'm actually, at least right now, I'm not medicating, because the thing that I found, just for me, it works better. Which is giving myself large periods of inattentiveness. So let's go back to this central premise, is like, how do you manage your impulsivity? So I look at my impulsivity as if it's a parasite that's in me, and I can't remove it. It's in me. What I can do is I can starve it, and I can weaken it. It's still in me, and eventually it's going to, I can't starve I'm saying starve myself, metaphorically speaking, don't starve yourself. But, starving my impulsivity of what it's trying to consume. I can't do that forever, and it is going to start growing again, but I want to keep my impulsivity in a weakened state, like weak impulses. And so what that doesn't look like is, right now I'm addicted to YouTube. I'm just like constantly, like if there's just like a dull moment, if I'm in my kitchen, I just open up YouTube, and YouTube's algorithm will just make sure I always have something that interests me, and it keeps me on a loop and in a rabbit hole. When I do that, I'm feeding that parasite. I'm making things impulsive. And then, it's like clockwork. The more I do that, then the proof that I have ADHD just starts coming back. I'm making dumb mistakes. I'm forgetting my keys. I lose my phone. My vision goes blurry when I'm trying to pay attention to someone. Like I just stop paying attention to them, and I don't even realize it until it's already happened. I'm told something, and I need just to remember very simple things, and the whole thing, it's like this explosion. And what I've been doing instead that has really been helping me at work. So again, this is like the baseline. These are not like tips and tricks. Is starving the impulsivity by giving myself large periods of time that I call time dilation. It's ways of basically putting myself in time out. You remember when you were a kid and you were put in time out? Like you put yourself into a situation that initially it's going to kind of feel like it sucks. But when you do this, it's going to feel really good. And you're going to start to feel like there is this person inside you that is like who you actually identify with. Instead of identifying with your ADHD, it's like there's this person inside of that like that person's going to start to come out. But the thing is that this is sort of like telling people to eat their vegetables and go to the gym. Like you have to do this right. So if you really want this, if you're really sick of experiencing ADHD, I'm not saying that I can cure it. And I'm not even saying that what works for me is going to work for other people, but it's got to work for at least someone who's listening, which is you put yourself in an environment where you know what, let me just tell you exactly what I do. I do long-term and short-term things. So day to day, I make sure I schedule in my day about an hour where I put myself in a room that I don't do anything there except, just this activity. There is nothing to read. There's nothing to listen to. It is silent. I don't have my phone with me. I don't have my computer with me. There is nothing to stimulate me. So when I say putting myself in timeout, like it is literally putting myself in timeout. Half an hour of that hour is that. The other half an hour is, let me come back to that actually. But the first half an hour is that. It is like really just putting myself in timeout. I can sit there, and the only thing I can stimulate myself with is my thoughts. And if my mind is running a mile a minute, then that's what it does. And if it's all over the place, then that's what it does. But there is no activity. The only activity is no activity. It's that simple. Just go in the room and be in timeout. The long form one is basically that in the long form, that there's this place I go to actually here in Northern California. It's called Filoli. It's used to be this wealthy person's estate, and it was donated to the National Historical Trust. So it's kind of like a park plus like a little house museum kind of thing. I started doing that because it's similar to the being in timeout thing, except I wanted to do it over like a whole work day, like 8 hours. And when you do that, you have to eat, you have to like go to the bathroom, you have to get into air conditioning sometimes when it's hot outside, like it is now. So I needed a place that was kind of like partially a park, which it is, and partially it's got like some modern amenities. It has a cafe there, it has that sort of thing. So I signed up for a membership there, and I'll do that from time to time. Every once in a while, I'll actually take off, like I will take PTO, paid time off, and I will plan a whole day. I would plan to do nothing, which is an odd thing to do. And that sounds and feels like it is a waste of time, but it is immensely beneficial every time I do it. So I highly recommend doing this. But I would say, like, if you want to just start small, it's like if you walk your dog, don't take your phone with you. If you go to the bathroom, don't take your phone with you. Like find moments of time where you deprive yourself of stimulation. You starve your impulsivity, because it's your impulsivity that is causing you to hyper-focus on things. It is causing you to take on too many things. You're going back to what I was saying at the beginning. It is not your ability to prioritize things that is broken. It's that it's fatigued. It is constantly fatigued. And when you are like when you're standing all day, when your legs are tired, and you know what to do to address that fatigue. You go and you sit in a chair, you lay down, or you just take a nap, or you go to bed, and you give your muscles that time to relax. When it comes to our attention span, we don't know to do that. We don't have that feedback loop. We don't really even notice that our attention span is fatigued. We just think, well, we put that label on it. Well, that's my ADHD. It's my ADHD. It's this permanent static condition that I have, and that's it. Where is the chair for our attention span when it's at a point of fatigue? What we do instead is that we just power through the fatigue, or that we introduce things that are, we record the lecture instead of being able to listen to it because we just can't count on our attention span anymore. And so it's really attacking that impulsivity at the heart. That is before we even get into the workplace, that is the thing that has brought me so many benefits. That if I do that, everything else just works better. And I'll come back, I'll make some more videos about that. But I did say I was going to come back to that last half of the, when I set aside an hour each day, where the first half an hour is where I will basically just be in timeout. The other half hour is that once I'm in timeout, my thoughts get this just open space where they can just go out there. If I'm in a rage about something, or if I'm just, whatever's going on in my head, positive or negative, it just gets space to work itself out. Suddenly my thoughts become clearer. And there's this effect that happens even in that 30 minutes, which is time dilation. That means that how quickly you think time is passing is actually slower than you perceive it. That you think 20 minutes has gone by, but it's only been 5. And so that half an hour can really feel like a long time if you're in timeout, if you're really just, staring at blank walls. And so when that happens, I mean, it's like that movie Inception, where it just time dilates, and you feel like all of a sudden your thoughts become clearer, and my whole like chaotic workday all of a sudden comes into focus. It becomes clearer. I can manage things. Things start to prioritize. I narrow down my focus. I simplify. This is just happening automatically. And that's what that other half an hour is before, is that after I've gotten a half an hour through that, and this is after doing it, you have to it's kind of like going to the gym. Like if you do it regularly, you'll experience this. That second half hour segment is that I now have all this clarity, and I feel like I can do like an entire day's work in 30 minutes. Maybe I can, maybe I can't. But that 30 minutes is like this joyful reward where then suddenly I can just start, just do like 30 minutes of really meaningful work. So there's a lot more to say about this. And already I think that 15 minutes is too much to make people listen to these days. But really thank you for listening to this. I understand that this idea just it doesn't really, it may not feel like it applies to you. And I know we always have to say, everybody's different, everybody's brain is different, and that's true. But if I had watched this video 5-10 years ago, that's what I would have said too. I would have said, yeah, this doesn't really apply. This isn't how my brain works. So what I would say is, like, take a leap of faith. This is going to feel weird. Try it, see what happens. That's all I can ask. Thanks for watching.